Hey Rapids fans, welcome to another edition of The Rundown. In this edition, we're going to talk about the match against LAFC, where the Rapids fell 4-0 at BMO Stadium to the MLS Cup champs. I'm going to look back at that match with Drew Moor to analyze what went wrong for the Rapids, but some building blocks that they can go off of going to the next match. Speaking of the next match, Minnesota United at Allianz Field is the upcoming test for the Colorado Rapids, where they're going to have to deal with a very informed, a very talented Emanuel Reynoso and company. That and much more on The Rundown. All right, so let's go ahead and break this down, this match against LAFC, Drew. Clearly not the result that the Rapids wanted. 4-0, it's not, in any context, it's not good. What did you see wrong with the Rapids on the night?
Yeah, I think just a little loose in possession at times, which when you give the ball away to the players that LAFC have on their squad, you're going to get punished, and they certainly were. And just switched on defensively, right? And I think we talked about it before the match. You need to be organized defensively because they are extremely dynamic in attack, because they have Carlos Vela, because they have Denny Boanga. They just weren't organized enough defensively, and when you give the ball away and you're opened up, you're going to get punished against teams like LAFC, and that was the case in that match.
Yeah, small little mistakes lead to big moments where, again, the LAFC capitalized on them fully with that 4-0 result against the Colorado Rapids. But a positive, there's a few positives with some individual performances that we saw between Rafael Sok breaking up plays, holding onto the ball, and then Rafael Navajo, who was there holding up the ball, being a presence up top, being a nuisance for the center backs in LAFC. So some building blocks to go off of for the rest of the season off those performances despite the result.
And they're all kind of in different places, right? Ralph's been kind of in and out of the lineup, so he needs to build off of that performance because he's somebody that would love to see solidify his spot in the midfield because of how strong he is, the engine that he has. He can, he does well defensively, he does well in attack, he sees the field well, he always kind of plants that seed into the other team's midfielders that he's there and he can get stuck in, he can leave one on you, and Rafa Navarro needs to put the ball in the back of the net. That's ultimately what he's going to be judged off of, but he was that presence as a number 9 in between the center backs, extremely active, ready to get on the end of things in the box, led the way in LAFC, and they're going to need to in Minnesota as well.
You mentioned Minnesota, Drew. Yeah, another tough test, especially at Allianz Field. Earlier in the season, Minnesota United came and kind of gave the Rapids a punch in the mouth. They beat them 2-1 in their fortress at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Now the Rapids have to go to Allianz Field against Emanuel Reynoso, who was not here the last time we played against Minnesota United, and he is in form. And when he is in form, he is very, very difficult to play against.
It's the Reynoso show for Minnesota United for me, and they have other good pieces. Halangwane's had a very good season. Temo Pukki is there now, right? The number 9 that's played at a high level for his entire career. But for me, it's Reynoso. He's so good on the ball. He's so good at finding open space. He's one of the players, and I don't like talking about myself much, but when I was on the field, I could not keep track of this guy. I couldn't get close to him. I couldn't get my midfielders close to him. Jack Price and I talk about it all the time, how difficult he is to just get close to. And when he has time and space, that left foot is gonna find a pass. It's gonna find a shot. He's gonna get on the score sheet. He has good pieces around him, but if you stop Emanuel Reynoso, you stop a lot of what Minnesota United wants to do in attack.
The team is built around Emanuel Reynoso, and you noticed that it was very evident from when he wasn't on the team. Granted, Minnesota, to be fair, did fairly well at the start of the year without him, but once he walked into that team again, completely different team, completely different show there in Minnesota United. So, of course, we're acknowledging the difficult tests that this Colorado Rapids side have against Minnesota United in Allianz Field, and this time against Emanuel Reynoso. Drew, your keys to the match to be ready for what's going to be a difficult game in Allianz Field against Minnesota United.
Of course, we just talked about Reynoso, right? He's not somebody that you're going to go and man mark and follow him all over the field, but you have to know where he is, especially when you're in possession, right? Because he'll kind of drift in and out. He's not going to come back and get in great spots defensively, but if you turn the ball over, every player on Minnesota United's first look is Emanuel Reynoso, and if they can find him, they're going to, and he's going to do his thing on the ball, right? But I think as dangerous as he is with the ball, and when you're in possession, you have to take advantage of that because he's not going to come back and defend too much. He just wants to kind of, hide in between the midfielders and the defenders and wait for those turnovers. And I think there's really, a lot of times I've seen Minnesota attack with 4 and defend with 6. And so if you can possess the ball through their front 4, you're going at a team that might be deficient in numbers in the back, right? And so you have to be good in possession. You have to be opportunistic. Hopefully Rafa Navarro can open his scoring. So you have to be opportunistic going forward, and also put whatever's happened this season so far back behind you. This is the only game that matters right now, right? Put anything that's happened in LA, in Leagues Cup, before all that behind you, and focus on this one game. It's one day at a time right now. It's one game at a time. Go to Minnesota United with confidence, feeling like no matter what happens, you can get 3 points. It's still MLS at the end of the day. This is a team that is very good at home, that has very good players, but there's no reason not to believe that you can go in and take all 3 points from Minnesota United.
Sure, for sure. Again, we went back to those positive building blocks to go off of from LAFC, and as cliche as it can be as well, just take it one game at a time, especially with what's left of the season for the Rapids, fighting for whatever points are left in this season. And there you have it from Drew, his analysis, what he thinks it will take for the Colorado Rapids to be able to earn a result at a very difficult place that is Allianz Field against a good Minnesota United side. And you can catch that match against Minnesota United on Wednesday, August 30th, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time on MLS Season Pass. That'll do it for this edition of The Rundown.